webinar. Our first speaker is Dr. Karan Bhatia, who is the HOD of Cornea, Consultant and Assistant Professor of Regional Institute of Ophthalmology, Sitapur. He's also the Joint Secretary of VOC. He would be presenting his challenging video and sharing how he managed the moment. On to you, Dr. Karan. Can you share your video?
Please unmute yourself, Dr. Karan.
Karan, we can't hear you.
Please unmute yourself. Yeah.
Karan, unmute and start again.
Yes, ma'am. The mixed technique. So I'll be describing the mixed technique, which is a novel approach for sclerofixated IOLs. I don't have any financial interests. So the ideal situation after any cataract surgery, what you would want is the implantation of the IOL inside the bag. However, this doesn't always happen. And what you don't want is surgical aphakia. Various options have been described in literature, from the anterior chamber IOLs to the iris claw IOLs to the sclerofixated IOLs. And in these sclerofixated IOLs, this is the most popular approach worldwide, even more than the retropupillary iris fixated IOLs. However, there are various surgical approaches for them, and they are challenged for the anterior segment surgery. So we described the mixed technique, which is a modified adaptation of the Yamane and the XNIT techniques for SF-IOLs, where the externalized haptic was transconjunctivally cauterized to form a flange, like the Yamane technique, and like the XNIT technique, the sandwiching of the Prolene haptic into the lumen of a 26 gauge needle was done externally, like the XNIT techniques. So basically, we combine the two, and therefore M stands for modified adaptation, Y for the Yamane technique, and X for the XNIT techniques. And we recently published this in the Indian Journal of Ophthalmology as well. So let's take a look at a case. This was a 55-year-old male with uncorrected visual acuity of 1/60, post-cataract surgery aphakia. And you can also see a superior peripheral iodotomy over there. So this was the case. So a superior phonic space conjunctival flap was made. And you can see that there's a buttonhole of the scleral tunnel from the previous surgery. So the same tunnel, and if using an RK marker, or a toric IOL marker, you can take 0 and 180 degree. So once you look at this over here, so this is the mark 1 is 2 mm away from the limbus, and then mark 2 is made 2 mm from here. And similarly, 2 mm down you go for mark 3, and you go 2 mm above for mark 4. So similarly, using the caliper and the ink, it was marked. And this 26 gauge needle was introduced into a PVC stopper, which was made from an IV set. 26 gauge needle was inserted transconjunctively via Mark 3 into the area inside the eye. And this was directed out of the sclerocorneal tunnel. And this, the haptic of the Prolene IOL was inserted inside this, sandwiched. And this slowly, you need to take the entire complex inside. The guard was applied so that there is slippage, and similarly angle transconjunctival sclerotomy was done by a Mark 4. Again, this needle was directed out of the sclerocorneal tunnel, like you would do in XNIT technique, and this trailing Prolene haptic was then introduced into the needle lumen. Once this was done, the needle haptic complex was withdrawn from the sclerotomy site. And then the next step is AC maintainer has to be turned off in this step. Then you titrate to see for the position of the IOL. Wherever there is extra haptic, approximately 1 mm it comes, so you trim that haptic out. And like the Yamane technique over here, now a flange is created. So this flange was then buried subconjunctivally and pushed a little bit into the sclera as well. Similarly, it was done. The PVC stopper was removed on the other side. And again, around approximately 1 or a little bit more mm of the haptic was trimmed, and a flange was created using a ballpoint heat cautery. You can also use a Bovie cautery for the same. This was also buried subconjunctivally. The AC maintainer was removed, and then this tunnel was sutured with tennoprolene. Sorry, tenno-nylon. The ports were hydrated, and the IOL you can see is very well centered. So post-operatively, the patient did very well. At 7th day, he had a visual acuity of 6/12. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Karan. That was a wonderfully innovative video. I have a very simple question, one or simple questions. I'm sure the expert panel can join in. You have used pass a suture through a 26 gauge needle. Normally in Yamane, they use earlier 13, then 27. So this is a wider bore through which this haptic has gone in. Is there a possibility that it will slip in?
I mean, rigid scleras, like adult scleras, it doesn't slip in. However, if you have a younger individuals, like less than 18 or something, then because of their sclera is not so rigid, then there is a chance of slippage. So we have generally done it in adult eyes.
And this cutting of the IOL, I want thoughts of whoever in the expert panel has done a similar technique, not exactly the same. Dr. Purendra Bhasin, would you comment on this?
Yeah.
Could we have avoided cutting the haptic because then it's of no use if it's not optimal? And also the amount of heat which is applied. Is there any tip which you'll have to give that you so that you just get the right size of the flange, or don't?
I think you have raised two pertinent questions. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I think these are the two pertinent questions. We are doing it regularly, this modified Yamane technique here. And one thing is that we are using 29 gauge needle, or not the 30 gauge needle, because it is not, because this haptics doesn't fix into it so well. And it doesn't slip. I have no experience because this 26 gauge needle is wide enough, and chances of slip, you need to make a bigger flange. And the other question is concerned with this only. If your flange is bigger or bulkier, the chances of erosion of conjunctiva is there.
Yes.
And that we have seen, because after a month or 2 or 3 months or 6 months, patient return with the complaint of foreign body, and this can be an nidus for endophthalmitis also.
Yes.
So flange should be very, very minimal, and that is fair enough. That maintains the position of the lens, and even after 1.5 years, 2 years, I have not come across if the flange is very, minimal. The cutting of or trimming of the haptics, I have not come across, and unless until our position of the tunnel is unequal on either side, then we need to trim it. Like if it is anterior on one side and posterior or at right plane 2 millimeter away from the limbus, then if it is anterior, then we may have to, or if it is posterior, then we may have to trim it. Otherwise, we don't usually trim at all. Unless until the other reason for trimming is when our haptic has distorted or it has kinked, because that can lead to a breakage of the haptic in due course of time. So in such a condition where when it has kinked or broken, then we need to trim it, otherwise not. Lastly, what I want to say is, if we are using a foldable IOL, then I will not go through the scleral tunnel. Even if it is there is a scleral tunnel present, I will still prefer going through a clear corneal 2.8 millimeter incision in such a case, because there is a high chance that everything like vitreous and UV iris, it pops out through that large incision. So if it is anterior, clear corneal scleral tunnel incision, that gives us a better control during the surgery, and surgery takes hardly any time. Thank you.
Ma'am, I just beg to differ. I'll just say why we started trimming the haptics is we are using the Aurolab 3-piece lens. I have not done with the foldable lenses so far. So this is a little bit bigger. And the thing is, what we have noticed is if you don't trim from one side, the centration is maintained. The trimming is done after the centration has been achieved as what you would want. There is no tail that I have noticed in any case. But the thing is, if you don't trim it, from one area of this, the haptic starts protruding out. So you will see a longer haptic length in that subconjunctival area. To minimize that, it is trimmed about 1 mm on either side after checking the titration. And yes, the flange is created only slightly bigger than the site of your sclerotomy, so that it buries also a little bit into the sclera and it does not come out. I've done around 50-60 cases of such eyes and excellent results. I did one case right recently about Friday where I did a AC reconstruction DSEC with this technique of SFIL in one patient. And absolutely, I have had no problems with haptic the protrusion or something, but this modification has helped that haptic protrusion, the trimming of the haptics.
Anaga, you have anything to ask, or we'll move on to the next?
I think Dr. Mahipal sir wanted to say something.
Yes, Dr. Mahipal.
Congratulations, Karan, on describing this technique. Karan was with us, and I happen to be a co-author for this particular technique. The important thing is that he has actually taken the plus points of every technique. One thing which he has said, but which was not highlighted, this was described earlier by Beko, that if you don't have an assistant and once you have externalized one of the haptics, how do you hold it? He has, again, Beko used to take the pledget of the iris hooks that we have. So that is put, you can hold it with that. In this particular case, he has just cut the IV set and taken the hook so that it remains in position and it does not slip. So that is another innovation that he has put. The second point is that having a pseudo-phacodonosis, that means a tremulousness of the lens post-fixation, is going to be possibly causing more CME as compared to having a tight-fitting lens, in the sense that is why he's trimming, and because it's a larger lens, so he's making it adapting to the size after having exteriorized. So the important thing is that you are exteriorizing the haptics, and whatever is the extra play in that he's taking care. But personally, I would wish, if I want a procedure, I would wish my haptics to be below the sclera and inside the sclera rather than subconjunctival. So we have never switched on to the Yamanes. We always do the equivalent of the glued IOL, because there is a cover of the sclera and we don't want exteriorization. And as Purinder said, we don't want a nidus for the endophthalmitis, etc. to do. But basically, he has taken the good points of everything to make a modification in the Yamanes and the knit technique.
The only problem, I think, sir, is a very, very large main incision, whereas you could have
that because of the
huge incision.
The place where he is working just now is a reasonably low cost charitable kind of a thing. So he's using a PMMA lens. That's the only thing. But I agree fully with Purinder that if he had a foldable lens, you should go in from a smaller incision.
Good.
We should use, I'm using Technis or the Zeiss 3-piece lens. And they fit in, they don't require trimming. I think this lens, Aurolab lens, what he is using has a larger overall size. That's why he must be trimming it.
Yeah, good discussion. Thanks a lot, Karan. We shall go on to our next speaker. Our next speaker is Dr. Hart. Yes?
Dr. Ramurthy sir.
Yes, sorry. Yes.
Just, great video, Karan. Just to tell a variant, I've always been a votary of iris clip lenses, but recently, because of the simplicity of the procedure, I've tried a couple of these sterile fixated lenses. This is something I saw from Sri Ganesh's YouTube video. You pass a 26 gauge needle at 1.5 millimeters from the limbus and just thread in a 60 Prolene suture. And you use the conventional sterile fixation IOL with the eyelet, pass the 60 Prolene through that, and then cauterize it to create a small bulb, and then bring it again outside, and you cauterize on the other side. So it's just the 60 Prolene which is holding it on either side. It actually, I was amazed, I've literally given up these sterile fixated IOLs, but just takes about 10 to 12 minutes. And of course, these were clean aphakias and not something probably had on the table. I think that's there are multiple variants coming in, and I felt this was a extremely simple technique, fast technique, and you don't really pull the haptics outside. All that goes in is a 26 gauge needle and a 60 Prolene suture that's threaded through it. And you're cauterizing it on either side and boring the bulb under the conjunctiva.
Good. So there are so many modifications to it, and nice to see your video.